as for recruiting, what's his name? Tovani Mazel? Am I saying that correctly? I believe I am.
Yeah, I'm the butcher of names, so I'll go right along with you with saying that.
Tovani Mazel. He was committed. I can't remember where he was committed. He recently decommitted. He is the
Georgia.
cousin. Okay, loving this. Was committed to Georgia. He is the cousin of none other. My Aiden Mazel's head's too far away. Of Aiden Mazel.
Oh, come on. You got to break that out.
Yeah,
man.
I know. I had it ready.
Come on.
I cleaned it up.
We do a precast for a reason.
I moved it. He is a running back, which we've talked about this multiple times, that we definitely need to land a second running back to that room. A lot of names been tossed around. Stacey Gage, Anthony Carey, who's no longer running even his top 12 or whatever, so he's gone. Stacey Gage is still a big one, but Mazel is a 4-star running back. How would you not want to play with family? So we're trending in the upwards direction. UCF right now is leading the way at 21%, followed by Florida at 18.5%. I believe he plans to be at the spring game, if I'm not mistaken. Can you confirm or deny, David? Am I spot on there?
I do not see him on the list yet. That could change, though.
Okay. All right. So you have a list of guys.
Yes, per Blake Alderman.
We'll go over that when we get to the spring game. Dave doesn't play around, boys. So, look, I would love this just simply for a family affair. I think we should feel pretty comfortable about this. And, again, he's ranked 320th nationally, 27th as a running back. Would be a massive addition. 6'1", 193. Guys, pretty big. I mean, most of our running backs kind of fall around that 5'10", 6-foot mark, right? We've talked about this before. Would love for us to get that 6'1", 6'2" range style of running back to kind of give us that Derrick Henry-esque style of running back. So, again, for the fact that he's a Mazel just gets me excited as well, too. So, we'll see how that plays out. Dave?
Oh, yeah. He actually has a crystal ball, actually, for Oklahoma on 24/7 Sports, but that was March the 8th. So
who was it by, though?
It was by...
Now, Wilfong. Doesn't count.
Parker Thune, so it's an Oklahoma insider. So he might know something that we don't know. I have no clue. But guy runs a 11.3700 meters. Not the fastest, but I mean, I haven't really looked at his high school stats. Haven't really done any research on him. But as you said, brothers will want to play with brothers sometimes.
Cousins.
And I know Caden Daniels cousins. And I know Caden Daniels is another guy that they're after, who's, I said last week, was averaging like 10 yards per carry, rushed for like 3,000 yards. So they've got some running backs there high on the board. Of course, they want to take two, I would assume, especially with Montrell Johnson probably leaving this year. And then you got Cameron Carroll, with that whole situation there. So I would assume you take two. I don't know which two they're going to take. And with the, I believe it was not Stacey Gage, but the other guy that was trending towards Texas with him. It looks like he's just going to be
Derek Gibson,
the IMG guy. Derek Gibson, yeah. Name off the tip of my tongue. I'm going to have to go after somebody else. But as I said last week with Allie, I said I like the way that this whole staff, they evaluate talent, right? Picking up a kid this early that's in the 200s, maybe top 250, you don't know where he's going to land later on in the cycle. I think Florida was really good at that at the beginning of the cycle last year with your Jakeem Jacksons and all those other kind of guys. I think taking a running back early, and when I said I looked at Caden Daniels' statistics, I mean, he's probably going to go up, especially if he continues that production through his senior year. So I love the fact that they're doing their evaluations on these running backs, and I'm curious to see which running back they're going to pick up because, I mean, any of these guys could go either way. Like, Mazel could be ranked in the top 100 by the end of the cycle. I mean, I've seen Isaiah Bond jump from 4 to 500, which was a guy that Florida was in it for, and he jumped to the number one athlete in the class, a top 50 player, unfortunately went to Alabama. So you see that, and you look at that, and obviously that was a Dan Mullen evaluation, but still, you see the way that they evaluate early, and I like the way that they evaluate early because most of the kids that they did get early in last cycle went up for the most part.
It also helps, obviously, building that relationship, and I think Allie made a great point last time, too. Even if it doesn't work out the first time through with the transfer portal in play, right, it could pay dividends in the long term. So I think getting into it early, building that relationship, building that bond is, and again, we're going to talk about Miami in a little bit, and their recruiting and lack of, it seems like, building a relationship. So getting a little ahead of myself, but it is something to look forward to. Next on our list, we have Jamari Howard, who is currently, or he did a decommit Michigan State, right? He's committed.
Still committed.
Still committed. but is heavily. He's been visiting Florida State, visiting Florida. It seems like a flip is inevitable. It depends on where.
We just don't know where yet.
Yeah, Dave, you feel pretty good about him. You're excited about him. Again, we're hearing there could be some noise. You gut feeling, no, just a completely hypothetical spectacle here. Some noise could happen in the spring game. Just not necessarily this player, but any player.
Any player. I believe this go around, especially them redoing Thursday, they're going to want to get a somewhat of a commitment there. I always say, you always want to follow the visits, but you want to follow the crystal balls too. If you start seeing crystal balls, multiple ones coming towards a player around a certain set of time, then that means they're probably ready to commit, or somebody knows they're about to commit, so they put that crystal ball in. Sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes they just put one in and they assume it, and then they'll change it later 3 months down the road. But you start seeing these crystal balls roll in, especially closer to the spring game. I've heard some buzz that there could be one, but you always hear that, right? We heard it last year. Nobody committed. So
Sure.
I'm hoping that we have some spring game commitments, whether it's him or somebody else. And I know we're going to talk about other guys here soon. You want to get a commitment, especially on a spring game, if you're going to have it on a Thursday. Like I remember last year, people were saying, man, if they move this to Thursday, we better get some commits. We didn't get any. The timeline was a little bit mad about that, but I'm hoping we can get one. But either way, if we don't, the recruiting momentum is running in the right direction, and having it on a Thursday, you're getting more kids in there, and maybe even more fans than last year, because you did move the date at the last second. So.
Yeah, I think people are prepared for it this time, for sure. And I agree with you. I think there needs to be some noise for it being on Thursday, because there was a lot of flack for it being on Thursday, and it doesn't seem to have – it didn't seem to do anything positive or give them a leg up like it's being sold that it is. So to get some noise from Thursday would be huge. We're going to be there. So, if you're gonna, hey, any recruits that are watching and you want to announce what's up with it, say swing by the tent, go talk with a boy.
Come on over here.
That'd be pretty crazy.
Live. Yeah, right. You get it live on Hightop, right?
Well, could you imagine?
Kid, I got one for you.
Oh man, could you imagine? That would be insane.
Sheldon would never land. He would take off on his space suit, on his humping a space shuttle. He'd never come back to Earth.
The Hightop would never be a profitable company, because at that moment I would take everything that we ever invested and go buy a spaceship, and I wouldn't be able to fly it.
That would be a deflated spaceship with a hole in it.
It would.
Godly.
And make sure you guys
the one he has now has a hole in it after this year.
And make sure you guys show some love, drop a like. We have over 162 in here, so I appreciate you guys' love and support on this Wednesday afternoon, hanging out with us. It means a lot, as always. So drop a like, let us know that we're doing a good job. Appreciate you. The last one we have, I talked a little bit about on Tuesday. I got his position wrong. It's safety, Zay Mincy, which Lucas. He be tweeting about Zay all the time. Lucas is Lucas, man. He's constantly tweeting about his recruits and who he's wanting to get. And Zay Mincy is a big one. And I believe Corey Bender dropped the little crystal ball for him. And there's a handful of crystal balls that we got, which, like you said, which is exciting to see that a lot of this noise is happening this early. And like you said, with the crystal ball is with the anticipation of a commit. And I think we learned from last year, Billy is strategic on how he likes people to commit. There's a rhyme and a reason for it. I think he gets kind of in a flow. The Austin Simmons one, was that one strategic, or was it more of just, hey, let's get it going because of paperwork? We got to get this thing figured out. I don't know, right? But let's say this happens this week. One happens next Thursday. That's what we were doing last summer. So could find ourselves in that rhythm again. I wouldn't mind for content creation purposes if we've had one every single week. Give me something to do. I love that, but I would love for us to hit one, especially this Thursday, and Zay Mincy would be a great start.